Hi, and welcome to this ForNAV coffee break. My name is Peter Vennevetlo. I'm a product specialist at ForNAV, and I will be your presenter today. As this coffee break is live, you can ask your questions via the GoToWebinar question window. We'll answer them at the end of the coffee break. Today, we are going to take a somewhat closer look at the layouts of the ForNAV Excel reports in Business Central. We are going to look at and edit the layouts of Excel reports. At first, we will simply swap the default Excel table style for other existing Excel table styles, and then we will gradually step away from the built-in design until we are simply making layout changes in the worksheet and looking at what sticks and why that is. To demonstrate changing the layout tables of ForNAV Excel reports in Business Central, I am going to use these steps. Step 1, prerequisites. What do I need to get going? In step 2, I will change the table style to an existing table style. In step 3, I will create a new table style from scratch. And in step 4, I will make changes to the worksheet itself and see what sticks. Let's start with the first step. Today, I will work on a Business Central on-premise database with the Business Central 2023 Wave 2 release. I have installed the Universal Code version of the ForNAV customizable report pack, and I have executed the step-by-step wizard from the assisted setup to get started. I have installed the ForNAV designer, which can be downloaded from the ForNAV website. I also have Microsoft Excel installed on my system, which I will need to edit the XLSX file. Let's start simple. I want to change the layout for the customer ledger entry Excel report. Right now it looks like the one on the left. I will show you one I could download. Sales, customers, reports, ForNAV customer ledger entries. And there it is. It's pretty bland. Both sheets sort of look the same. I would like to change them up a bit, give them some color, and I would like each sheet to be a different color so I can immediately recognize what I'm looking at. Now I can change the design in Excel. In fact, I can only change the design in Excel, but I can only change the actual layout in the ForNAV designer. So before we do anything else, I will download the layout file for this report and open that in the designer. You can do that by going to ForNAV standard reports, going to Excel, customer ledger entries. If I click this, it will open my designer. And we'll look at this later, but for now, let's go back to this Excel document we have. This consists of a sheet. I'll remove this watermark. It will return, but I'll remove it for now. It consists of a sheet, data sheet, the sheet with the basic data from the customer ledger entries table, and a sheet with a pivot table. The data on this pivot table is a bit muddled. There are a lot of various rows and a lot of subtotals, and I just want it to be in a tabular form. So I want it to be like this, and now it still shows all these various subtotals, so I do not want those. And now it's a bit more neat. And now to differentiate this pivot table from the data table, I will change the layout of the pivot table to something more stark, something more like this purple. And for the data table, we're going to go for another style. Let's make this under table styles. So in both sheets here, design, you have pivot table styles, and in the other table design, you have table styles. And then we'll make this the green one with the purple headers, which looks nice. And it's really different from each other. And with that, let's save this. And let's go to the designer. So now we need to feed this Excel layout in the designer. Excel layouts always look pretty sparse in the ForNAV designer because the actual designing is done in Excel itself, as we just saw. Still, if we want to make our design stick, we need to upload the Excel template to this Excel template property. Let's try this. See, so you can see which one. And it gives me an error message because I still have it open. It's a good lesson here. I need to close this Excel file before I can upload it. Customer ledger entries open. And now it's the designer will strip away most of the Excel document and reduce the document to essentially its bare layout. So the data itself is not really remembered, but the design elements that are important, they are remembered. I will save this and activate it. And let's see, under sales, customers, and reports, customer ledger entries. Let's see how it's changed. This is a new version of the document of the report. So it gets number 1. And as you can see, the watermark is back, but the design changes, they have stuck. Watermark is there to remind me that I'm still working on a trial version. And I can't remove that unless I move off the trial version. But apart from that, it came out looking like we designed it. Now, let's say I do not like any of these styles, and I want to make my own style. I can do that too. Let's grab this newly generated document and make a new pivot table style. I can go to design with a field selected in the pivot table, go into design, and I can click at the bottom here, new pivot table style, which gives me this prompt. I can give it a name. Let's call it CB for coffee break. Table style 1, as if we're ambitious and we're going to make a ton of these, but this is the only one I promise. And now I can, I have all these elements. I have the whole table, or I have the first column or the header row, and I can simply format these. Let's say I want to make the border solid all across the table, and I want to have the first column italicized, and I want to have it like pink. I can do that. And let's say I want the header row to be bold and have white letters, and I want it to be this maroon color. I can do that too. Now, my new style is right here under custom styles. This style wasn't in Excel before, but we can still use it as a layout style for ForNAV Excel reports. If I save this, go into the designer, I'll reset this one, close it. I'm not making that mistake again. And upload this one. And now, if I run this report, see, this one is still the same, the watermark is there. And this one is now my new custom style. It's simple as that. And for our final exploration, we are going to attempt to change even more things and see what will stick. Oh. Now let's go back to that Excel file. Let's make the amount column, this one, in the datasheet yellow. Let's just plop it yellow, not in the table style like before, but just literally we've turned the column yellow. Let's do the same to the grand total column. Oh. Well, let's turn it yellow. Make these letters black, because now we couldn't see them. Let's save, close, and in the designer, let's use that one. And let's see what sticks. All right, as you can see in the datasheet, the amount column is now the normal color again, the default color. The changes to the data table have not stuck. The incidental nature of the data in this table does not allow ForNAV to recognize the relevance of layout changes in the column we painted yellow. By contrast, the changes to the pivot table have stuck. The grand total column is still painted in the newly generated report. Because it recognizes this is apparently something you want to change and it's something important. Let's try two more things. We'll add a column to the data table. Let's insert a column to the right. Let's call it CB amount more. This is a column added to the Excel table, so it works the same way as all the Excel tables. And let's make it amount times 1.2. Because it's an Excel table, it will continue the calculation neatly, so it will just continue that calculation down. It's all that same calculation times 1.2. For all intents and purposes, this is now part of that same data table in Excel. And having done that, let's take another look at the pivot table. I think even this is too cluttered, even with the watermark. Let's make this the normal color again, no fill, and the default automatic color. This is too much. I only want to show the customer group, and I only want to show the amount, like this. I will make these bold, I will make these yellow. I can just change these around as you can for any other pivot table. By dragging and dropping fields into different areas, it just works. I'll save this, close it, and in the designer, I will re-upload, save it, and let's run it again. Reports, customer ledger entries. Let's see what's stuck. That new column I made in the data table, it's gone. The columns on the data table correspond, the normal columns on the data table correspond to fields in the Business Central data set. And my new column did not. So ForNAV has wisely chosen to ignore that layout change. The changes to the pivot table, they're perfectly fine. Let's even make the watermark a bit smaller. I will spoil at this point that I couldn't have added a second pivot table to this report in case I wanted to have a pivot table with the amount per customer group, for example, or an entirely separate pivot table with the monthly amount per company, for example. If I tried that, I would have gotten an error message. So that's why I haven't shown you that, because it doesn't work. And that's basically the extent of my talk. So let's recap what we just did. First, we changed the style of the tables in a ForNAV Excel report to a default Excel table style. Then we created a new table style from scratch for our ForNAV Excel reports. And finally, we explored some of the ways to change layouts without using styles and some of its limitations. Thank you for listening to me so far. Let's see if we have any questions. There are none so far. Since we have no more questions, I think I will wrap up this coffee break. If you want to know more about ForNAV, or if you want to download the ForNAV Designer and Converter, please visit our website. If you want to install ForNAV in Business Central Cloud, please visit the Microsoft App Source. And if you want to watch more videos about ForNAV on our YouTube channel, you can watch more videos about ForNAV on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions about ForNAV, please email them to support@fornav.com. And for a full list of upcoming and recorded coffee breaks, please visit fornav.com/coffeebreak. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.